Happy Saturday to you, everyone. Just let me get this mic plugged in here. Audio is working great. I want to talk to you a little bit today because a lot of times when people have puppies, they struggle with when to let them out of the crate. In other words, to leave them at home alone, not in a crate. And the reason why we struggle with crates is because of isolation. Yeah, we're group living animals. We are. And so I get that. We struggle with being isolated away from our dogs. And we struggle with the thought that our dogs are isolated away from us. And that is the beginning of it all right there. So before you even struggle with the timing of when is it appropriate for me to be able to leave my dog out of its crate, you struggle with the crate, period. You struggle with isolation. And that's quite understandable. I get it. I own dogs, own many dogs. We're about to have a new puppy in our household as well. And by the way, just so you know, Kara will be documenting that little arrival of that puppy and going through probably about every 3 or 4 days. You know, there's no life-changing events or news-breaking events that occur with the puppy in about 3 days. But she will be documenting the growth of this puppy in our household and how we do things. So again, I have to practice what I preach. And there will definitely be moments of where I feel kind of guilty and I kind of struggle with the isolation of my dog being away from me or us being away from our dog. Okay, so let's just break this thing down and see if I can give you a couple of recommendations that'll kind of just lessen your struggle because it's not going to go away altogether, and that's okay. So let's just talk about it. First of all, anytime I'm really trying to break down a behavior, I always kind of just look inward and I ask myself, is this a want or is it a need? And that's important because needs have urgency. They're more of a priority. They're direct action issues. But when it's a want, we can put the brakes on a little bit. I get it. A lot of people aren't good about putting the brakes on wants or being patient when it comes to wants. But you kind of have to. But at least it allows for it, whether you're not good at it or not. It allows for being patient. Gives time for closer examination of the issue. You can be a little bit pickier. So ask yourself, is leaving my dog in a crate or my wanting to let my dog out of the crate while I'm away at work, is that a want or is that a need? Again, why would it be a need? Why would it be a need to be able to leave your dog out? Well, because you would have to leave your dog in a crate for an unreasonable amount of time, a time period that would go beyond its limits of holding it. You know, we're humans, they're dogs, you know, we all have to go potty. And if you're going to leave your dog in a crate for an unreasonable amount of time, that's kind of being a little bit inhumane, a little bit cruel. Imagine if you were in there, you had no restroom inside that tiny little room. Other times it'd be lack of water, you know, dehydration. A lot of times people will attempt to leave a bowl in a crate only to come home and find out that's been knocked over about 20, 50 million times. And water's now spread outside the crate itself, all inside the crate. Your puppy's soaking wet. And therefore, you're wondering, okay, did you even drink any of that or did you just absorb it through your body? Maybe you got your hydration that way. Yeah, if you're going to have to leave your dog in a crate for an unreasonable amount of time, and again, what is that? Gosh, I could shoot entire videos on that. It just depends on the age of your dog. Young puppies under 3 months of age, man, no more than about 3 or 4 hours maximum. As they start approaching an envelope of about 5 months of age to a year of age, a good 8 hours, 10 hours, no problem. They can do it. They can handle it. They'll be fine as long as they have plenty of hydration capability post being in the kennel or pre being in the crate. Also, as long as they're given good exercise, mental stimulation, and all the other things that kind of go with just having a really healthy life as a young dog. Okay, so now we go through it and we say, okay, well, you know, my dog's a little bit older. It's about 6 to 8 months old. I have to work and I'm gone for about 8 hours. So there's not really a need that I leave my dog out of the kennel. I just feel bad about it being in a kennel all day long. So let's break that down. Okay, first of all, let's kind of look at it from the dog's perspective. What is a kennel? What is that? What does that do to an animal being in a crate? Well, first of all, if it's proper, it's a den-like environment. That's what it is. It's a den-like environment that will allow let me just adjust some little lighting here. I don't know what happened to my lighting. But anyway, it's a den-like environment. For most animals, they really don't have an issue with it per se. There's no feeling of, I hate you for you putting me in here. I can't stand you. This is wrong. I'm going to protest as soon as I figure out how I can do that as a dog. But don't worry about that. From a dog's perspective, a crate really is nothing more than a smaller room in your house. So when you let your dog out of your crate, what you have essentially done is you've allowed the dog to have access to an even larger crate. If they don't have unfettered access to the outdoors, then you've just taken them from one small, tiny little crate to a big crate called your house, the inside of the room. But what you've done instead, where the environment changes, is now they have unfettered access to all the stuff in your house. And we humans, again, as you try to be very conscious of what you left laying around before you left to go to work, doesn't always happen. You invariably leave things that can be harmful to your dog. And your dog, now that's out of that crate, has access to object play. I'm going to find things. What I do when I discover objects, novel objects, I explore them. I see what I can do with them. What can they do for me? What can I learn from this object? And hence starts the shredding and tearing and lifting and throwing and tossing. All the things that you do with an object. Whether the object is safe for the animal to play with or not, you just allow them to have access to objects. You also allow them to have access to locomotor play. Yeah, there you go. Now you got the proverbial bull in the china shop. You have this 8-month-old dog, probably about 50 pounds if it's a large dog. That thing is tearing through your house, tripping on all the cords that you have connected to lamps, connected to computers that are charging while you're gone, desktop computers, printers, all the things that we have in our house nowadays. Yeah, there you go. Now your dog is running helter-skelter in your home, doing the zoomies or getting a bug out while you're gone. And you just allowed it to do so. And then if you allow other dogs, that you have other dogs in your household and they're able to stay out of the crate and been able to do so for quite some time, well, now you just gave your puppy access to them. And here comes social play. And now what happens with social play, remember what is one of the reasons why nature gave your dog social play? So that you can learn who you are and your potential should you ever have to compete with that other individual for a valuable resource. That's the number one reason for social play, is to learn how to interpret and then how to respond properly and safely to the signals being given to you by another animal. And you also are able to evaluate their resource holding potential. What weapons do they have? What experience fighting do they have? In other words, outside of play, should push come to shove over something that we both deem to be very valuable and we both wish to own it, that play may help you make a decision not to go against that play partner. Because you learned. You learned from playing with them. Wow, stronger than me, faster than me, more determined, definitely been at this a little bit longer than I have. So therefore, you can have the bone that was discovered underneath the ottoman. I just hopefully go see if I can find another one. So when dogs are outside of crates, just kind of keep that in your mind. Break it down. First of all I did was just let it out of one room into another room. I also gave it access to object play. I don't care. You will never sterilize your house. I'm just telling you, you're just a human. It is what it is. You gave your dog access to locomotor play. You gave your dog the ability to engage in social play should you have other animals in your house, other dogs, and even the cat. And that could really turn out to be a very bad ending when it comes to most dogs getting unfettered access to cats. So think about that. And then also, just from a natural standpoint, let me just kind of throw this in there as well. Dogs, again, having their ancestry and their genetic components still connected to wolves. You hear me say that over and over again. Wolf cubs, by nature, are kind of clingy with that tight little den. Even once they come to the surface, they're no longer living 24/7 in a tight and closed den. Know this, they're clingy to that den, and they will scamper in that den when they become frightened by something. And in many budding wolf packs, these cubs on the ground are the very first ones. There's no older brothers or sisters to take care of them and to babysit them and keep them safe from harm when mom and dad must leave to go get groceries, go get some food. So they will leave their cubs. It's a huge risk. We lose so many cubs every year because of it. But they're not the only ones. Only 5% of cheetah cubs ever grow to adulthood. because the parents are forced to leave. They're forced to go out and earn nourishment. Nourishment for themselves, nourishment for their offspring. And that little crate for your puppy can serve the same thing. How many of you own a dog or have owned a dog in the past that you left the crate door wide open? But where's your dog? You look around all of a sudden and go, where'd Cal dog go? I look over there, he's in his crate. Yep, he's in his crate. And all of a sudden, if something scary happens, a big boom outside, someone appears or whatever, and the dog's startled, where'd he go? In the crate. Yeah, guys, so, I think we just have to kind of get over it because we just have this impression that it's doggy jail. We've got some place that it's a horrible place to be. I would hate to be in a crate all day long, but let me tell you something. That happened to me. I was in a crate. And part of my military training was this training called SERE training. SERE. Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. And I went through this training just a few years past the Vietnam era. And they were really trying to teach you not just survival skills, but how to conduct yourself should you ever be taken as a prisoner of war. And they took a lot of the lessons that they learned from the former prisoners of war and they incorporated this into this training and made it as lifelike as possible. I'm telling you what, there are many moments where I'm thinking, you need to call an academic timeout because I really think that you're about to kill me here. But they shoved us in crates, and they were these tiny, tiny little bitty rooms. You had nothing. You didn't even have any clothing. No food, no water, tiny little room for days on end. When you came out, you were tortured. And if you weren't tortured, then you were given assignments that were just horrible all day long. If you wanted to escape because the environment was so dangerous where this camp was, you actually had to request, may I attempt to escape? Yeah, it seems kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? But it's there to save your life. I went through that train during the dead smack of winter, and I'm telling you what, it was somewhere, and I still to this day do not know exactly where it was, but it was somewhere north, way up north in Maine, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, the point I'm getting to with this is this. 4 days of being in that crate, I like my crate. Yeah, when they took me out of that crate, I couldn't wait to get back in that crate. When they took me out, whether it to be for their fake torture or their persuasive little tricks that they'd pull on you, or this mundane, stupid labor that they made you do all day long, I couldn't wait to get back in my crate. I like my crate. It was mine. It was a place in which I felt safe at the moment. It was a place, no matter how hard it was, no matter how cold, it was mine. And that's because I'm a group living animal. And even though I earned or yearned, is the word I'm trying to say, for the companionship of my fellow prisoners, and we did everything we could to talk, Morse code through the walls, things of that sort, I still liked my crate. And so did everyone else. I think we have to get past this illusion that we have, or this thing that this perception of the crate being this horrible place for dogs. It really isn't. The outside world can be a scary place. Many dogs, when you leave them alone outside in this house, in your house for the first time ever, it's not the joyful, oh yeah, free at last, yes, I can't wait to do this. No. Many studies have been done on that, stress levels that set in. Because that same isolation issue you have with them, they have with you. All dogs suffer from a wee bit of separation-related disorder because they're social animals. And what did they fall back on? That very thing that when they were young, kept them safe in those dark hours of the night, kept them safe when things went boom outside, when funny lights flashed in the windows, and strange, unfamiliar beings were near the home or in the home. So get over it. It's part of it. Again, having owned a vet hospital, I can tell you about the dangers of dogs roaming free in your home. You meant well, but it did not end up well. So just remember. So in quick review, get over the isolation thing. It's not as bad as what you make it out to be. from nature standpoint, cubs will scurry right back, wolf cubs right back into their den. And when mom and dad go hunting, they cling to that den and they will dive in that thing in a second if something tells them you need to hide. Hide right now and be quiet. You need to do that. Your puppy will do the exact same thing. If also remember that you gave them access to things that can harm them or just make your life owning a dog miserable. Keep that in mind. And if you have other dogs, you don't know how the other dogs are going to treat your dog because all of the experience you have up until that moment that you decide to leave that puppy out has been with you. Animals act differently when they're with us, kind of like kids. Get the parents out of the room, you get a whole different thing happening. Remember that as well. So some suggestions, if you're going to do this, I would make sure I had some sort of remote camera. I'd do it for small moments at a time. I would allow the dog out. I would make sure my house was sterile. I'd have a checklist before I went to work. Check off every little thing in the little box before you head out the door. I would observe the animal from remote. And good Lord, there's 50 million cameras that you can get nowadays. So it's easier than ever, cheaper than ever to do so. Watch your pup, see what it does. See what it does. Yep, give it a little bit of time. Give it time. See what it does. Then as the pup shows that's trustworthy, then you can start to open up the house a little bit more of the time. But I would start from a crate in a room, kitchen maybe, I don't know, your laundry room. Pick a room. Pick a safest room possible. Dog can do the least amount of damage there. Start off with there with the camera right in there. Put it on a tripod. Bam. Just put that camera right there, mount it on the wall. A lot of them have suction cups nowadays. So easy nowadays. Do it. Watch your pup. Let's just see. If we have a lot of whining, a lot of vocalization, that means your dog's stress response is super elevated. Don't go bail it out. Give it a couple days to learn how to adapt to this new surrounding. Wow, now all of a sudden I'm not in my safe crate anymore. Things can get me from a lot more different angles over here. Ooh, things sound different out here. They smell different. They look different. Yeah, they have to get used to that. Give them time. And then slowly open up your house a little bit at a time. And then at the end of the day, last rule is this. Here's me personally. Kira will tell you, and she'll document it with this new puppy that we're getting. I don't leave any new puppy that I acquire free in my home until they are a minimum, hear these words, 18 months, year and a half, to 2 years of age. Captain was close to 2 years of age before he had unfettered access to my home. Was he housebroken long before then? Oh, heck yeah. Did we sterilize the home? Did the best we could. But was I going to leave him out? No way. You guys have seen him. Super intelligent dog. Super intelligent dogs make things to play with. They come up with a way to entertain those real fast problem-solving brains of theirs. And he's a herding dog. So locomotor play definitely would have happened, and he would have gotten himself into trouble with doing that. So therefore, you've seen him on the videos. He's a cool dog, man. I love him to death. I swear I love that dog. And he turned out just fine. And every dog I've ever owned turned out just fine. Okay, so that's from a young puppy perspective. Again, I'm going to hop off this video. It's been too long as it is. Older dogs, dogs that you adopt, again, trust but verify. I'm creating them. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a 5-year-old dog. I got you from the shelter. I could care less how well you behaved at the other person's home that you lived in. You need to prove it to me that you're good in my home. Maybe I got something different than what they have. Yeah, every dog I own, every dog that comes into my household, I don't care who you are. I don't care what experience you have, what kind of training you have. You will ride a crate. And if you're not used to being in the crate, you'll get used to being in the crate. And you will do that until you prove to me step by step that it's okay to leave you out. And I'm not just doing that for my home because I can buy new stuff. I'm doing it for your safety. I'm going to save you, dog, from yourself. I'm going to take into account that this wonderful thing that we perceive it to be is not always so wonderful for a dog. And I'm going to make sure that they always have access to their crate. The doors are wide open. I still have Captain's crate in my house and the door is open. He can go in anytime he wishes to go in. Okay, guys, so I hope that helped. A little bit of a long video. And I also hope my microphone worked. As you can tell from some of the previous videos, we've been having some issues with the microphones. But yesterday, we jumped on this thing, and mostly all of our trainers jumped on it. But big hats off to Jake Duels if it's working, because he got on the track of this thing like a bloodhound, and he just kept running down that track until he indicated on an article. And the article said that with the recent update on the iPhones, the big number 14 for the iOS operating system, that something happened between it and Facebook. And now when you must hook up your external microphones after you start the Facebook Live, not before it. Otherwise, you could have a disruption in the signal. So I hope this is coming in good. If it is coming in good, any of you people out there watching, give me a thumbs up real quick. I'm waiting. Come on. Someone give me a thumbs up. If the audio sounds good, let me know. Yep, it's on. Okay, I'll find out afterwards. I'm going to get off this darn thing. Okay, guys, so just think about that when it comes to crates. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about baby talk. Yeah, somebody just wrote a little thesis. Somebody wanted a PhD. And it says that we should baby talk our dogs. So it's a lot better, increase our bonding with them. I got a little bit to talk about that. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.